Good morning, everyone. I am working on canning potatoes. As you can see here, I got 4 quarts ready to go. I'm using my Instant Pot again, and it will hold 4 quarts. Now, my first batch, I'm using a cold pack because everything is cold. The pot is cold, my potatoes are cold, my water is cold. And let's back up a step. First step is scrub these potatoes really good, guys. I'm doing a peel on because a lot of nutrition are in the peels of most of your fruits and vegetables, so I do peel on. And I use a steel wool to clean my potatoes. They are scraped and rinsed very well before I put them in the canning process. Then the next step is chop them to the size you're going to want. For soups, stews, I'm going to be able to make mashed potatoes with these and everything when they're done being canned. And the potatoes I'm using, sorry for the back and forth, I'm not very organized this morning. These are russet potatoes. So, it doesn't say it on the bag, but they are. I bought 90 pounds of russet potatoes to can. So, those are russets. And I diced them. As you can see, they're diced. The next step is I'm going to put only a 1/4 teaspoon of salt in each jar. And the reason for that is I don't do a lot of salt in my canning, in my food as a norm, because we have issues, health issues, that we don't want our food full of salt. So the salt is in. My next step is, oh, I don't know if I can do this and film it. I'm topping them off with cold water. They're going to have a 1-inch headspace. I got to debubble them. And I hope I'm not making a mess. Oh, a little bit. That's me. I'm normally a very messy person. That was one of my half-gallon jars full, and that's what's left. Now the next step is to debubble your jars. Now I only got enough potatoes ready for the first batch because I'm also doing laundry today, and laundry takes a toll on my back, guys, like you would not believe. So now we wipe the rims, which I'm not set up to do, and then we put the lids on. I got brand new seals and my old rings. And that's kind of what we're doing right now. That's where we're at. We're going to debubble all these jars, and if the water line drops too far on my jars, I'll have to add a little bit more water. I try and go around the jar at least like 4 corners. That one's too full, so I'll probably have to dump a little water out of there. You see the bubbles coming up? Wow. A lot of bubbles in this one. There we go. And these potatoes, that's salt. That's not a bad potato. That's salt on the potatoes, so don't worry about that. Potatoes, I'm cutting all the bad spots out of the potato because we don't eat them anyway. And we don't want them in our jars taking up room for something I would toss. Lots of bubbles coming up, guys. Now also, when I fill the jar with potatoes, I give the jar a little shake. This one's the only one that the water line didn't go down very far. So see if we can get it to debubble just a little bit more. I don't really want to dump the water out, but I know for the proper headspace, I will have to. Yep, I'm going to have to. Alright guys, I got to get my stuff ready to wipe my lids, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, we're back. I'm wiping my rims. This is just a dry paper towel because we're not handling no meat, no oils, no grease. I'm just wiping the rims with a dry paper towel. You can also use vinegar on your paper towel. That's never a bad choice. And I'm just making sure there's no salt granules, no water, although they do get wet in the process of canning. Then we're going to put our lids on. Yeah. Don't want to drop a lid. There we go. And then the next step is our rings. So the rings go on next. Again, just hand tight. And it sounds like my load of wash is ready to go on the wash line. And my wash line's right out there, guys. I love this window, and I'm going to lose this window when we build the kitchen, but I'm going to have a whole lot more windows when it's all said and done. So I got to just be patient. All right, they are ready to go in the canner. Let me tighten those lids, and I'll show you putting them in the canner. Okay, guys, I got to plug my Instant Pot in. It's not even plugged in yet. And that's because I'm used to conserving power because we are off-grid. Now I'm going to set it to multi-grain, and I'm going to turn the keep warm setting off. Now this will start heating the water. I can heat the water faster by canceling and going to saute mode. If you want to do a hot pack and you want your water preheated, that's how you do it, and it'll be boiling in no time. But today I'm going right to multi-grain because I'm doing other stuff, so I have time to let this do its thing without me. Now what I do is, there is a little rack in there. See that rack? That keeps the jars off the bottom. And I balance the jars across from each other first. And I try and keep everything centered. There we go. And that keeps them from rocking back and forth too much. And yes, this is manufacturer approved, guys. You can safely do this in your pressure cooker. Alright guys, I'm going to put the lid on, and then I'm going to go out and hang my wash. I'll be back with the final product. Okay guys, for full disclosure, this did not work in the bottom of my pot. Now I'm not sure if this is going to work or not, because now my glass jars are sitting on top of the interior pan, but it's not directly on top of the heating element, so I'm hoping it still works. We will find out, but the only way these quart jars would fit was if I took this rack out. I could not put the lid on. Without the rack, the lid goes right on, so hopefully it works for quarts, because I've got 90 pounds of potatoes to do, and I really don't want to work with my huge canner because it's so heavy for my back. And I really have enjoyed working with this with the pints. So stay tuned. We'll be bringing you back as soon as we know what happens here. Can you hear that, guys? It's gurgling. It's getting hot. It's still my first batch. Now, my second batch will be what's called hot pack, because my canner, if this works out, will be hot, and I plan on putting another batch in as soon as that one comes out. But now, because there's time in between the two, I diced the first set of potatoes and put them right in the jar, put the cold water right on them. The next step is the potatoes go in a bowl of cold water, because otherwise they will discolor, and I don't want them to look really bad in the jars. And this just keeps those potatoes from discoloring and turning black while you're working on more dicing and chopping. And you see I got my next 4 jars ready. I got the salt already in them. So the only thing I have left to do is wait for this to start steaming and chop those up. So far, I don't know how many jars for a 10-pound bag, but we're going to find out, and I'll let you know the results of that. Okay, guys, I am ready for the next step, and I'm going to tell you the results of the first one. All of my jars siphoned. Look at that. The water's there. Look how low the water is on this. This one broke. And this one siphoned as well. So, 4 total losses there. Now, the potatoes in these 3 are still good because the jar didn't break. So, those I can put in like a freezer bag and put them in the fridge, and we can use them up in the next couple days. And this is the bottom of the jar that came out. So, I'm just not sure. But I'm going to go forward, and here's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to do a hot pack next. So I'm going to load my potatoes in my jars, put hot water. This is hot water. I'm going to put hot water in there and see if it doesn't do any better. All we can do is try, and if it fails in this next run, then it looks like I'm going to have to get the big canner out and my propane burners for outside and just do a big push one day and maybe get Jim to help me. I don't know. But I got a lot of potatoes to still put back. At this point, once this is done, I still have 80 pounds of potatoes to put back. So I have to resolve this real fast here. So I'm going to get busy and we'll let you know how the second batch turns out. Okay guys, my second batch is in. It did go in with hot water in the jars, hot water in the processor. I'm just waiting for the temperature to come up on the water because everything has cooled down. And we go from there. So let's hope this next batch works. I'm really dreading getting the big canner out. Okay guys, second batch is out. I only have 3 good jars out of 4. The fourth one did break. Now it could have been the jar, it could have been the process. I'm really not sure. None of these lost water. And as you can see, they're still bubbling, so they're still cooling down. They're a little yellow in color, which I think is what my ones that was done 4 or 5 years ago, they were a little yellow in color as well. So I think that's going to be the norm. But they are done. They are sealed. Even the ones that siphoned water are sealed. But with that amount of, the water is only that full to that jar. So I'm not sure if that's safe to save or not. We probably won't. I probably will make mashed potatoes or something with them, maybe even for dinner tonight. Just because I don't trust them. These, looks like when they cool, as long as everything stays sealed, I will be saving these 3 quarts. And I did get 8 quarts out of a 10-pound bag with just a little bit of potato left over in the bowl. It's not much. Probably maybe close to another quart is in here. So maybe 9 quarts out of a 10-pound bag is what I got. But sadly, I lost 2 complete quarts, and this is what they look like when they came out. You see, they still have some substance, but watch how, look at that. Now, as they cool, they actually lose some of that mushiness, because I know when I got my potatoes out last year, they didn't crumble like that. They were pretty solid, so I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I got 80 pounds to go. I'll let you know if I decide to follow through on the Instant Pot, or if I try to go with the big canner. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to Georgia to help somebody disbud their goat. So tomorrow I am gone for the day. Alright guys, take care, God bless, and we'll see you in the next video.